Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom. I'm David Mensa, Israeli government spokesman for the National Public Diplomacy Directorate here in the office of the Prime Minister. Questions in the chat, please, and I will take a few after a very quick update from me. It's Wednesday, the 25th of September, day 355 of the October 7th war. Let me start with a reminder of Israel's war aims. They are the return of all of our hostages, 101 of them children. They are elderly, they are women, and they are men. It is a crime against humanity every moment that they are in captivity. Israelis and people of good conscience the world over say in one loud and united voice, let them go now. In 10 days, it will be 1 year in Hamas captivity, almost unthinkable. Next, the dismantling of Hamas's government and military capabilities, the removal of the terrorist threat to Israel in Gaza, and the return of our citizens safely to their homes in our own sovereign territory in the north of Israel. So let me start with an update from Israel's north. Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon continue to fire missiles and rockets at our people as they have done every day now for a year, 9,360 of them. At 6:30 a.m. this morning, millions of Israelis took refuge in their bomb shelters. A Hezbollah long-range surface-to-surface missile was fired from the village of Nafacheh in southern Lebanon. It was fired towards Tel Aviv. This is the first time in history that Hezbollah terrorists have fired at the city of Tel Aviv. Thank God the missile was successfully intercepted by IDF's David Sling aerial defense system. Immediately following the missile attack, the launcher in southern Lebanon was struck and destroyed. This was a Hezbollah long-range advanced missile fired indiscriminately towards millions of our people. In the past day, Israel has received over 300 rockets and missiles fired into this country. 6 people have been injured. No country would put up with that. Let me share with you some more figures, our latest figures from here in Israel. We have 63,500 Israelis who have been evacuated from their homes in our north. Israelis, refugees in their own country, evicted from their homes by a terrorist organization who have fired, as I said, 9,360 rockets on our homes. 49 of our people have been murdered by this Hezbollah fire. We've had 372 Israelis wounded and 200,000 dunams of our land, the land of Israel, burnt by this rocket, drone and missile fire. Just yesterday, 19 fires were started by Hezbollah with this rocket fire, with firefighters having been called to 900 fires since October the 8th. In terms of an operational update from the IDF, we are targeting Hezbollah's senior chain of command and their arms and weapons. Just yesterday in Beirut, a targeted, precise strike eliminated Ibrahim Mohammed Kabisi, the head of Hezbollah's missiles and rockets unit, and other senior Hezbollah commanders. He was responsible for the rocket fire towards Haifa in recent days. So by phone calls, radio broadcasts, websites and text messages, the IDF has been urging Lebanese civilians to move out of harm's way. The images have proven that Hezbollah are hiding arms caches inside civilian homes. We see secondary explosions of Hezbollah weapon stockpiles, munitions, long-range cruise missiles, drones, rocket launchers, thousands of them, all located in the heart of civilian populations inside Lebanon, all of them prepared for immediate launch against our people. I remind you, Lebanon has no territorial claims against Israel. The border between our two countries is precisely where the UN asked for it to be. Now, the state of Lebanon and Hezbollah, the terror organization, which operates under the guidance of Iran, are responsible for this escalation of the security situation in the north of Israel in violation of international law and UN Security Council resolutions 1559 and 1701. Next, an update from COGAT and their work coordinating aid into Gaza. Since the beginning of this war, 53,000 truckloads have delivered 1,038,000 tons of aid into Gaza. That is 795,000 tons of food, 51,000 tons of water, 26,000 tons of medical supplies, 76,000 tons of shelter supplies, and enough vaccine vials to vaccinate 5.5 million people. And Israel has helped facilitate the creation of 13 field hospitals, and you can get more details, indeed all the details of Israel's humanitarian efforts on COGAT's website. So that's the end of our briefing today. We'll now take your questions. Please put them in the chat together with your news outlet. Okay, first question I can see here is from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Can you describe what diplomatic efforts, if any, are currently ongoing to resolve the crisis in Lebanon? And also, sorry to repeat a question from last week, but circumstances have changed. Is this the third Lebanon war? Thank you for that question, Joel. I haven't got anything specific to share with you on diplomatic efforts currently underway. I would say from the Prime Minister's point of view, from the Office of the Prime Minister, we would say that we favour a diplomatic resolution. It's always our go-to option, but we have tried for a diplomatic resolution for 11 and a half months now. Yesterday, our president described the US diplomat Amos Hochstein. He described him as talented, but with all his talent, he hasn't been able to negotiate any sort of climb down on behalf of Hezbollah. I remind you that Hezbollah are a terrorist organization which in its very essence wants the destruction of this country. There are UN resolutions which are absolutely crystal clear on their demand for Hezbollah to be moved behind the Litani River. They are 1559, UN Resolution 1701. They've never been adhered to, even with a UN force, the UNIFIL force, on our border with Lebanon. It has not prevented Hezbollah from firing its rockets on us. We know why they're firing upon us. It's because of Jew hatred. It's because of Israel hatred, in common with other Iranian proxies. We will always try to get a diplomatic resolutions, and we are open to diplomatic resolutions, but none of this has worked, and we cannot. The situation is simply not sustainable. Israel must return its people to its own sovereign land. In terms of the next question about the third Lebanon war, I'll leave that for others to give this war a title, what's going up in the north a title. We know what we're fighting for. We've given you our war aims. It is to push Hezbollah, the terrorist organization, back from our border, to stop this rocket fire against our people, and to allow our people to return to their homes. Next question here is from Hannah Julian from the Jewish Press. Does the Prime Minister still plan to leave tomorrow for New York, and what time is he speaking at the UN? Thank you for that question, Hannah. I can confirm that the Prime Minister is still planning to go to New York. The purpose of his visit is to use the platform at the UN General Assembly to raise the plight of the hostages, 101 of them, to ensure that the world does everything that it possibly can, the international community does everything that it possibly can, even countries that have not done enough up until now, for them to put all the pressure on Hamas to release our hostages, to put diplomatic pressure on Lebanon to eject Hezbollah behind the Litani River. Indeed, on that point, let me take another question, actually. Next question. Let's go back to your last question there, Hannah. Yes, the Prime Minister is still planning to go to the UN General Assembly to use the platform to raise the Israeli people's concerns. For more information, the Prime Minister's Twitter is regularly updated with all the timings for when he plans to speak at the United Nations General Assembly. Okay, let's go to the next question now from Jim Williams at Zenga International News. Is the Prime Minister still on schedule to address the UN on Friday? And do we expect him to meet with other world leaders while in New York? Thank you for that question, Jim. Yes, he is scheduled, but I would advise you to check out the Prime Minister's Twitter, where any update will be given. That's the quickest way to find information on the situation. But the Prime Minister does indeed plan to go to New York to attend and raise Israel's concerns at the UN General Assembly. Perhaps I can add that just yesterday the Prime Minister visited the Humanitarian 8200 IDF intelligence base, where he received a detailed briefing. The Prime Minister thanked the intelligence officers and the soldiers in Humanitarian, the 8200 unit, for their vital service to the security of this country. And the Prime Minister said that he was deeply impressed by their work on Hezbollah. And this is something which will he be raising actually in Lebanon with other world leaders as well. He said yesterday, and he will say in New York, that he sent a direct message to the people of Lebanon. The Prime Minister's told them that our war is not with the people of Lebanon. Our war is most definitely with Hezbollah. Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, is leading you to the edge of the abyss, said the Prime Minister on Monday. Israel and Tuesday and today, we have continued to inform the Lebanese civilians to evacuate homes where there is a missile in the living room and a rocket in the garage. The Prime Minister has made very, very clear that whoever has a missile in the living room and a rocket in the garage will no longer have a home. The Prime Minister has also said that Nasrallah is putting Lebanon in danger. He's urged the Lebanon to free itself from Hezbollah's grip, to free yourselves, Lebanon, from Nasrallah's grip for your own good and for the good of regional stability. You can be sure that that will be the message which the Prime Minister will be giving at the UN General Assembly. Okay, I think that's the last question, unless there are any other questions. No? Okay. So, no, there are no other questions. So thank you for joining us today. We'll have another briefing this time tomorrow. In the meantime, do please stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.